Hello everybody, I'm here talking to Uwe Boll through Skype, and we all just saw Darfur. And Uwe, the first question actually is, in Darfur, one of the most horrible things we see is there is a baby getting spiked on screen. Is there anything you will not film ever?
No, the thing is, like, everything what you see in Darfur, you can read up about massacres also, and we don't show anything what is not actually accurate, or or we overdo it or something. So they impale children, they burn children and women alive, and I try to be as close as possible to the truth.
But what is it doing to you as a person? I mean, you get home, you well, you've just filmed something horrible like that. That must do something.
No, of course. It was the hard thing in Darfur was to actually, we shot with real Sudanese refugees. So they were actually people, they saw all this before in real. And they got raped in real. A lot of women we show in the movie. And then they had to play this again. They had to relive this on screen.
That's terrible.
Absolutely. But they all know what we wanted, and they all agreed to do it for the greater good, basically, to show what's going on in their region, and to show what North Sudan, basically under Bashir, is doing. And I think it was very necessary to do the movie. You know, like, the thing is, if you see the whole Darfur conflict and you have only the press and the interviews you saw with George Clooney and everybody, it was not really accurate. It was in a way like they were collecting money for the refugee camps, and I have a different approach. Like, for me is, why are 3 million people in refugee camps? Like, if the massacres would stop, there would be no refugee camps, and then you don't have to collect like hundreds of millions of dollars. So my approach was different, and I have, in general, I'm not scared to basically show how it is, or show how something actually really looks like it happens for real. So and I think it was necessary to do the movie, and sometimes it's necessary to show the violence.
And you don't have a hard time filming that?
No, it's like, I have to say, like, it was, especially with the Darfur movie, it was the most effective for a lot of people in my crew. Like, my DP, Matthias, was the first time in like 25 movies I did with him who he had tears in his eyes, you know. And but when I actually shoot something, I stay very, let's say, emotional. I try to be disconnected. Emotionally, I try to be only like visual driven, like, what is that what I want to show, what is that what I film right now, and then I go for it. And I don't want to have too much like talk to the actors about, can we do this, can we do this. It's better to just go for it and shoot it. And the same with with Auschwitz, of course, was the same problematic.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you're even there pushing the Jews into the gas chamber. I mean, that's kind of hard, right?
Yeah, but it was the reason that I do it as was basically that the extras we hired to do it, they did it. Like, I said it 150 times. Like, these people have to be naked when they go in the gas chamber, and you have to be like a little more, in a way, a little harsher to them, or a little more violent to them. And the extras failed to do it. This is the reason I put that SS uniform on, and I went in. We had like a massive setup with like 80, 90 extras in that room. They had to get naked, and every setup was like over an hour. As you can imagine, if they lose the wardrobe and then they have to get redressed, they have to walk out and come back in. And I just couldn't afford it anymore to lose more time. Yeah. So this is the reason I did it.
Yeah, that's well, it sounds logical, but you know, still, I think it's remarkable to make films about these kind of subjects. We've just at the Film Academy in Amsterdam, we just finished a project also about a film in Auschwitz. We did an interview with a guy who was there, and we animated parts of his life. But you know, on set sometimes, I really had to keep myself strong, you know, because it's not that easy, that subject.
No, I have to say I got very emotional then when I edit the movie. Right, when I then you see it and you're alone in the editing room, and there the Darfur thing was really when that woman gets when she says like she has nobody anymore and is in the arms of Kristana Loken. This is actually exactly what happened to her. She told me like her whole family got basically hacked in pieces in front of her. And she lived now as a prostitute in the slums in Johannesburg. So she didn't exchange, she survived, but it's not that these people in South Africa, it's not German or Dutch welfare programs there, like you're just alive. And then a lot of people turned into drugs and stuff like this. And this was tough, but especially that woman, Matthias and me, put money together, and she's now in England. And she will be a nurse. And we said, look, we finance you that nurse education thing, because we had the feeling that she will not make it a long time anymore if we don't get her out of the township, basically. So, and I think everybody, all the extras, we paid normal fees. Yeah. And everybody was happy also to make some money from them. And so... this is the thing, and to be honest, now when you see the actual development in Darfur, like the Bashir bombed the south 2 weeks ago, he is still in power. Nothing really changed. And when I remember the time when I finished Darfur and I was asking for support from Clooney, Don Cheadle, the Obama government, and nobody supported me, and they all said, "Now your movie is too violent and whatever." And I said,
"It's not about the movie, right?"
No, I know. This is the whole point. It's because it's a movie from me that they didn't support it. Me, and they could make. If they would make that movie, they would be in the Oscar nominations with it. And this is the thing. What was pissing me then off, especially with George Clooney, because he is really involved in the Sudan Darfur crisis, and to not support the only feature movie made about the subject matter at all is for me totally absurd. And this is the thing.
This is a really hard thing. I totally believe in your recent more political and meaningful films, like, for example, I've also been thinking to show Tunnel Rats. We've got Auschwitz, we've got Darfur, Rampage. But don't you think it's hard for the public to accept those films when you also keep making films, like Blubberella and Blood Rain 3? And I mean, you're smiling, but I mean, for example, if Orson Welles, in his time, would have switched off every great film he made with a kind of Ed Wood film, I mean, people wouldn't have taken him serious.
No, but you have to say two things about Orson Welles. He acted in a lot of shit because he had to make some money to finish his Othello movie and so on. Yeah. And he had a tough time financing his movies. And since then, the times also moved on. And the reality is that without Blubberella or Blood Rain 3, I could not make Auschwitz. Auschwitz is like an unfinanced movie, what nobody would ever finance. And I just squeezed it in the budget, because I had the Second World War set up with the uniforms, with the costume department.
You couldn't get money for Auschwitz? I mean...
No, zero.
There's an Auschwitz committee, there is... wouldn't there be some Jewish organizations who would want this story to be told? I mean... You could find a producer who could make these films, right?
No,
I mean,
no. I don't think everybody was like, no, we don't want the Auschwitz movie. Not only my own crew, even Dan Clark, my producer, it was the first movie where he said, you should not do that, Uwe. And I said, no, it's necessary to do it. And so I did the movie basically against everybody's will. And then Auschwitz still has no deal in USA, where there's a huge Jewish community, and no deal. All the video distributors I normally work with passed, and they said they asked like Walmart, Best Buy, and they all said we will not take that movie, and this is the reason they don't even manufacture it. So only like in Europe the movie is out. I also don't have a deal in Israel for it, even if I had a lot of press from Israel also and positive feedback. But this is the thing, it's like a lot of times it is way harder to do something what is very, let's say, violent or ultra realistic, because what the people basically want to see are stories with hope, and at the same time they want to see stuff like Germany, for example. They subsidize movies like Stauffenberg, Sophie Scholl, whatever. Like as soon you make movies about people that tried to defeat Hitler, then you are a star in Germany. If you just show plain and simple what Auschwitz was, then the people are not excited.
Yeah, I know. We talked this about like a year ago. We had a great conversation about it, also in Berlin. And actually, the last time we spoke about Auschwitz was at the premiere.
Yeah.
But since then, how did the film actually do?
No, the film did in a few territories, at least on DVD, very good, like in UK and Germany and Benelux.
Not in the Netherlands. Oh yeah, that's Benelux. Sorry.
Yeah, Netherlands also. Yeah. It's doing good on DVD, but it's not enough territories where it's doing good, because a lot of territories just didn't bought it. I just sold it to Japan. It will be interesting to see what Japan is doing with it. But a lot of territories, like without US deal, I'm in big trouble, you know. But really? What I said, like because I had that all the equipment and the Second World War set up with Blood Rain. So for me, the money losing situation is halfway okay, you know. And the funny thing is, in US, the last company who passed on it said, because it's a documentary. And I said, no, this is not a documentary. I filmed it. And they said, oh, I thought it was a documentary. And I said, you really think they put cameras into the gas chamber? Like, and that shows like also like how stupid a lot of people are. And how that they just are all like the new film distributors. A lot of times their whole film education started with Star Wars or something like this. You know?
But what were the reactions to the film? I mean, it was controversial when we spoke. It was Christmas 2010 when we spoke. Were people still that shocked?
Yeah, people were very, let's say, emotionally a little like flattened out after it. Yeah. You know, they were like, shit, like, this is just how it is. They were looking for the storyline of the movie, or they were looking for a hero, or looking for survivors, or whatever. And this is the thing. It's like that. I think it makes sense to have a movie like Auschwitz just to show, like, one day, you know, like from the train in the oven, without heroes, without survivors, and with just showing how it was, how the regular thing was, and so. This is it, but I'm hopefully that in the end it gets out in US, at least whatever, on Amazon or iTunes or stuff like this, and some people will see it. And also I think the movie will not age. You know, the advantage of the Auschwitz movie is it will not like dissolve, and in 10 years you cannot watch it anymore.